Picture mode closed to maintain recording quality. It's causing strain on your device. We closed it to prevent from affecting the recording. That's all right. Is this live? Let's have a look. Looks like it's cool. Let's just bring this up. I'm going to have to jump between screens, I think. Actually, let's try this. See how that goes. Get rid of that. All right. Let's see how this live goes. Back with another live, people. Yeah, the inbox and the direct messages have been filling up, and I'm going to read through some of those here now. Obviously, with regards to what's taken place with Ben Roberts-Smith in the last couple of days. So, a number of comments, questions, and stuff. Probably may not get through them in this live, but there are some key ones in here. Well, I use that term loosely, key ones. Maybe they're just baiting questions that I think it's important, or at least from my side anyway, to give a response. Whacked up a photo in the background there. I'm not sure if it's showing as the virtual screensaver, for want of a better term. A bunch of the lads that came and RS there, and I was fortunate that he came along to support that evening with the boys after I'd already been out for a while, for probably a few years by that stage. Anyway, on IG, SASR lads are all quiet now that the truth is coming out about BRS. Why do you think that is, Joe? And then question mark. So again, whether it's a baiting question or comment or whatever, I can't help but laugh and have a bit of a smirk on my face when I read it. Yeah, it's annoying. These questions and comments, thoughts are being presented or sent through by faceless people, nameless, faceless people, and that's fine if that's how they want to roll. But don't try and make out that you're something that you're not, I suppose, in terms of this person and their question. You want to make out that the truth is coming out. Again, I don't know where you're from, which country you live in, or whatever, or what your take is. It seems to be, it seems to me as I read that comment/question, then to me, that you clearly think BRS is guilty, as you've got SASR lads are all quiet now that the truth is coming out about BRS. What do you mean by truth? As far as I know, he's been charged. He's been arrested and charged, not convicted of anything. And at least what I know of, what little I know of in New Zealand and Australia, you are given the right of innocent until proven guilty. So he's presumed innocent until otherwise proven guilty, if he's proven guilty at all. So yeah, now that the truth is coming out, I think, and where your question, why do you think that is, Joe? I think guys that probably want to speak out may or may not want to speak out. They're probably just like me, sitting back, waiting for things to play out, waiting for the case to run its course, for the process to take place. I think that's what any normal person would be doing, or that's what I would have thought anyway. Is it going to stop the peanut gallery from jumping online and spamming the airwaves and the interwebs with their thoughts and opinions about how guilty they think RS is, or anybody else? No, it's not. It's one of the one of the things with regards to the internet. You can get on and say and do whatever you want, pretty much, for the most part, and get away with it. Not face any backlash or repercussions. You can punch out whatever you want on a keyboard. You can sit in front of a video camera like what I'm doing, or in front of your laptop, and you can spout on about anything apparently. Um, and or you can send messages. I touched on this in might have been the live yesterday. Um, if you're not prepared to respond to questions or comments or opinions that come through to you, if you don't want to deal with that, or if it causes some sort of anxiety or whatever, then don't jump online. So I understand that and acknowledge that people will send through questions, comments. Some will be positive, some will be negative, depending on how I choose to take them. Or they may actually be intentionally negative and intended that way, which a number of messages which I've received have been, and that's fine. That's all good. People, like I said, can say and do whatever it is that they like on the other end of a keyboard. That's not to say that I could handle it or deal with the person if I ever met them in person if they wanted to do something. But I I, I don't think I'm going to back down from the individual, regardless of who they are. So these questions that are coming through, I'm going to give my take. That's what I think it is. Why do you think that is, Joe? When you're in regards to this person saying that now that the truth is coming out about BRS, why are the SAS lads quiet? Like I said, I think they're just sitting back. They got probably a few more brain cells than maybe this person that sent this question through, and they're allowing the process to run its course. What I could say for me personally, in addition, is that if I was in Sydney, I would 100% be looking to try to go and visit, because as far as I'm aware, either he or it's been deferred or delayed or whatever in terms of bail for RS. I don't know why that is or why that wasn't put in straight away, and or I don't know when that bail application is going to go through. So, I'd like to think that hopefully, because he might not stand trial for blanking, I don't know however long. I don't think Oliver Schultz has stood trial yet, and he was charged um, however many years ago from memory. If anybody knows, if he's already gone to trial or whatever, feel free to let me know. But that was several years ago now, and I'd hate for something like that to happen to RS. So hopefully that bail or whatever gets organised and sorted out if it hasn't already. So yeah, so that he can be at home and be with his family and prepare for what's going to be. I can only imagine it's going to be a massive fight on his hands with regards to whatever's going on. So that's what I think it is. People are sitting back, going to allow the process to take place. Likely not because um, current guys in the regiment are likely obviously not going to speak out, right? Identity and all that sort of stuff. Uh, Former members, who knows? Maybe some former members that were there that served with them, worked with them, maybe they will come out and speak. Maybe they've got gag orders. I don't know. There could be any number of things behind the scenes in terms of why people or why ex operators from the unit either are or are not speaking out or not saying anything. So, and each to their own. Not everybody has to. Um, I don't have to, but I choose to because sometimes some lemons decide to send through some questions or comments like what I just read. This is the first one. Anyway, here's the second one, probably in the similar vein as the first one. And this person, I don't know if they're a subscriber to the channel, but they used to at least comment reasonably frequently ish on the channel on various other reaction videos. But here, I'm not going to give this person's name or their handle either. Scott told you, regards, told you, full stop, regards BRS, stop. He likes to kill PUCs, pucks. It's all coming home, full stop. What's SHIT is that the vast majority who are what we think they are get painted, full stop, not by media. Let's be clear, Joseph, he says. Heck, let's be clear, Joseph. But by BRS destroying the good name. Again, I align this comment, and that's it, full stop, they end there. I align this comment with regards to the first one. Here's somebody that has got their mind made up about BRS already. Um, y- to be fair, you could say I've already got my mind made up about BRS based on my biases that I've spoken about. Hopefully, I've acknowledged based on my interactions with BRS, not having served in the same squadron or on patrols with him, and based on the knowledge that I have of at least a couple of the guys that were in his team, including the patrol commander during the Battle of Tizak and that sort of stuff. And I assume would have been they would have probably been in the same team throughout a vast majority of their time. And there are a couple of people there that I have confidence in so the patrol commander being one, another guy being an ex-Kiwi badge member going over and joining the regiment over there in Australia. I have confidence at least in those two guys, let alone a number of others, that if there was any sort of poor behavior like that happening or what's been alleged, they likely would have said something about it and something would have happened. So yeah, that's my take for what it's worth. That's my bias for what it's worth. That's me, I suppose to a degree, making my mind up and feeling, I'd like to say, well, for me, I will say, I feel confident that, man, I just never saw anything like that in BRS that would make me think, oh yeah, I think that guy would have 100% done something like that, or even 50% done something like that. So does that mean that he's incapable of doing anything like that? No, it doesn't. Um, I don't think it means anybody that served in the unit or that whether you've served in the unit or not is incapable of doing stuff like that if whatever's been going on or something that's happened that causes somebody to maybe get triggered and do something like that multiple times. um it's not, I suppose I'd say it's not impossible for anything like that to happen to anybody, is what I'm getting at. But do I think that's what RS did? um my gut, my mind tells me no, but I've been wrong before. I'm not afraid to admit that. Um, but you know, I back BRS, and he's a friend. He's always going to be, even if whatever happens, if he is found guilty, and if you know, the results are what they are in terms of a guilty verdict, uh, he's still going to be my mate to me. Like, that doesn't change. And so maybe that's part of why my bias is still where it is. But to read this comment, told you, regards BRS, he likes to kill PUCs, it's all coming home. What's SHIT is that the vast majority who are what we think they are get painted, not by media, let's be clear, Joseph, but by BRS destroying the good name. Let's be clear, Joseph. Mate, the media have done a fantastic job of rubbishing the name of the Defence Force and operators within it. So let's just be clear about that, you bloody knob jockey, before you go cracking on. You just have a look at Heston Russell's case as an example. What the media did, dragging him and the November platoon through the ringer, dragged through the mud on the media. Wasn't from Heston Russell. He was fighting for himself and for the reputation of the November platoon that were being dragged through the mud. Then the media decided to go and attack his personal sexual orientation and the other activities, which had nothing to do with what they were saying that he was guilty of, which was war crimes. So let's just be clear about that, bro, before you go chucking in this rubbish here in your comment. All right. So you didn't tell me anything regarding BRS. Okay. You told me your opinion, and you told me that you're a person that is dialed into the hype of the media, and you make your assessment and your judgment based on what the media tells you, what they ram down your throat. That's what that tells me. So, but each to their own. You crack on doing what it is that you believe you're doing, bro, and feel free to send messages if you want. Um, yeah, either way, like each to their own, bro. Uh, makes me it it does get on my nerves in terms of not by media. Like, it's clear media have a massive sway and influence. If you've got half a brain cell, you'd be able to piece that together as you watch the news and the media. But anyway, let's move on from that one. Uh, Had a question come through, asking while this person was trying to talk to and convince another person, and there's been a few of these, there's been several of these, so I've just sort of clumped them together, but this one stands out because it was the most recent today. Said he was trying to convince a Taiwanese or person from Hong Kong who was commenting on the BRS situation and accusing BRS of being a murderer. And anyway, this person was essentially on the other side, defending BRS, doesn't know BRS from a bar of soap, going into bat for BRS, and then has come back. And this sort of ties in with a bunch of other messages. So that's as much as I'll talk on that. But I've looped it in with regards to people trying to talk or convince others of their opinion on RS. You could say I'm doing the same, but I don't know that I it may appear like that, but I can say that I'm not trying to convince anybody of my thoughts or opinions of how good a man I think RS is. What I would say is myself, like anybody else, we've got to let the process play out and see what happens as a result of the prosecution and the evidence that they've compiled to put together and which has led to the arrest and all that sort of stuff. To judge him now or to convict him of something that is still all just allegations at this stage, as far as I'm aware, uh, it just seems pretty stupid. And why do I say that? It's the same as if I or somebody else is trying to convince two opposing parties that they're right and you're wrong, or that I'm right and you're wrong, or you think that you're right and I'm wrong, etc. Hopefully that makes sense. It just seems stupid to me because people come into a, a conversation or a debate with already two opinions that are completely different to each other's. It's unlikely that they're going to agree and go, "Oh, actually, yeah, you're right, bro. Yeah, I believe you now. I'm with you. I think he did do it." So it's probably just a bit of a pointless exercise trying to do that. But I appreciate those that have sent messages, for and against. Probably more so for, I'll be honest. But when I say for, I mean just more sort of positive chat and comments and thoughts and opinions rather than absolute uh, absolute statements that he is a murderer, like, because that's not absolute and it's not a true statement. It hasn't been proven to be true. It may be true in the minds of individuals that have gobbled up the narrative from the media. Cool, each to their own. It may be true in the minds of those witnesses that, from the regiment. And I think there's potentially some local Afghan witnesses that may be used. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. That may just be a rumor mill that I've either started or that I heard and that I've just passed on and then just making it bigger and bigger. So anyway, each their own in terms of those differences of opinion. I think it's a good space to be in, to healthy environment to have differences of opinion with regards to things. Everybody's got differences of opinion, even within your own relationships, even between husband and wife, or wife and wife, or husband and husband, your whatever your goal is. But that's just a normal thing. And I know for a fact that even when my wife and I disagree, like, we still have our differences of opinion, strong differences of opinion on a number of things, and that's a normal part of life. So I don't think there's any need to try to go around and convince other people. So whether you're for RS, you know, no real need to go around trying to convince all these other people or a whole bunch of other people that may believe that RS is something else based on what they've seen. It's just a waste of time and energy, I guess, is where I'm going with that. Um, just carrying on from in that same sort of topic. So people trying to talk slash convince others of their opinion on RS, including trying to convince me. So I added that in there. And one of the comments, that a piece that I grabbed, has got, "Surely you can see the evidence against him, Joe, question mark. I get that he is your friend, but he murdered 5 innocent people." Again, this is from somebody that I can only assume as was not a witness to any of this, but has taken on everything that's been pumped in the media and rammed down our throats and shoved into our eyeballs with regards to video footage that they choose to show and the people that they bring on as the witnesses, either people that are all got their faces all covered, whether they're uh, paid. I forget the term, but there was a part that I saw. It might have been for the UKSF stuff, war crime stuff that was going on over there, where they were bringing in actors or whatever. So they were showing their face. They weren't the people that were the witnesses, but they were repeating, apparently, word for word from those that were witnesses of war crimes that had happened or something. So something like that. Anyway, um, that just blows my mind. I just think, again, that's another one of those things that I just think is stupid. If if you've got the curry to put your hand up and go, what that fella did over there was wrong. I was there when that happened. I saw it with my own two eyes, and I'm calling it out because that's not what I joined up for, and that's not what the unit is about. Then have the same curry to bloody get on the camera and then, you know, put yourself out there. The only probably caveat to that comes to mind for me is that if that person or those persons, you know, love the job so much that they haven't left, that they're still actively serving. That's the that would probably be that's the only thing that really comes to mind for me. Like, okay, you're still active, you're still serving. I get it. And you love the job, or you know, you're still there because you want to serve in that job. Then I would get not showing your face. But if something like that has been happening, and what's been going on in addition to that, from what I've seen, that there was supposedly hierarchy not doing anything about it, like those are two red flags, surely, for anybody that's serving in a unit like that to go, well, this person or these persons seem to be able to do whatever they want. I've raised it and flagged it. The leadership doesn't seem to be doing anything about it. I don't know that two red flags for me. Next one would be I don't know that I want to stay here in this environment. I don't know that I want to stay here and continue to work and serve and do what I'm doing because this isn't what I signed up for. Um, so yeah, that's the part that sort of frustrates me around the witnesses. Um, but yeah, unless they're serving. Now, there's a whole bunch of things to that, and I've heard people have come out and shared their comments before. You know, maybe they're worried about their safety. Maybe they're worried about those that are for BRS will look at them out in public and ridicule them and their families and children. Okay, yeah, I get that as well. That may be something that they're worried about. But you know, if those war crimes were something that they were privy to, that they witnessed and experienced firsthand, where's the line? Where's the point whereby you go, yep, this may really suck for me coming out and being an eyewitness and putting myself out there. This may be a very miserable, um, lonely, maybe dangerous experience. I don't know. It could be any one of those things, but surely there's a point whereby enough is enough, is what I'm getting at. So if somebody's reached that point of enough is enough and I have to come out or we have to come out and expose this, whatever it is that's been happening, if these things are true, then surely you front up as well. And, you know, you essentially put your money where your mouth is, and you stand there. So that people know who it is. Um, yeah, that's my take anyway. Like if, with regards to that, right or wrong, that's my opinion, probably because, well, not probably, that's the position that I feel like I would take if I can see that that's not right. And I've been trying these things and still getting nothing, but I'm still adamant that that's not what the unit is about. If I choose, I would probably choose to step away if I witnessed something like that. I wouldn't stay there and serve in a unit like that anymore if that was something that I witnessed, which I never did, just for the record. Um, then I would be looking to do everything that I can to expose that if that was the type of behavior which isn't what any of the guys joined up for. So again, and that's another reason why I don't think RS did that. And I don't think that him, along with others in the patrol, could I find it hard to believe that they could just sit by, stand by, and watch and or allow that to happen. It, again, I could be completely wrong, but that's a massive lack of courage, integrity, professionalism. Like that's a massive lack of anything. Like whatever got you to the unit in the first place. This is just my take. All that adversity, that suffering, the mental resiliency, everything that you went through to get to that place, to that unit in the first place, the understanding of the professionalism and what's required in order to not only get there, but then stay there and earn your keep there every day, that daily renewable contract. And then to sit there and then watch all of that unfold and not do anything about it sooner or immediately, it just blows my mind. Um, yeah. Again, that's not saying that the unit is perfect, right? It's made up, I've said multiple times, it's made up of all imperfect individuals that are there, highly driven, skilled, professional, etc. Blah blah blah. And so for me, it seems just so far out the gate that several members, if there's a number of people witnessing the same thing that have gone through all of that stuff that are at such a high level, would just sit back and let that carry on. Not once, not twice, not three times, not four times, but five times over five, from what I gather and from what I've seen and heard in the bits and pieces, five separate tasks or activities. Like, yeah, it just blows my mind. I just can't fathom that guys within the unit would allow that to happen over that period of time. Yeah, and whatever fear they may have had, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. So again, hopefully it all comes out with regards to the what's the name, the trial and stuff. Actually, I got some messages here. I won't call out his name either, but I didn't even know that this was happening. But apparently, there was a trial going in on YouTube. It's been shown on YouTube, um, and you could go on. What was it? The federal court site or whatever. Where's he got here? Received a whole bunch of information. I listened to the whole civil court case. I was on lockdown because I refused the vaccine. There is some damning evidence against him from SASR guys he served with. So, but that is not evidence. That's hearsay. Okay, so maybe they're the witnesses that are coming back in. You need physical evidence to convict murder or circumstantial evidence so overwhelming as to be beyond reasonable doubt. Person for sorry, that's after what he had sent through before. I think. Let me have a look. Oh no, maybe it's part of it. I'll carry on. Person four, if called, will be interesting. He might be charged with murder also, says. Because the stuff that I was watching in I think the ABC documentary, it kept referring to, and I know I was saying this in my reaction because it's still fresh in my head. They were referring to that they thought that they were above the law. They thought this, they felt that they could do this. And I was like, I keep hearing this they from witnesses whose faces weren't disclosed and voices changed, but they kept just going after Ben Robert Smith. So that part was confusing to me in the reaction. And then I was reading this and I was like, oh, this guy was watching. I didn't even know that that trial was on or that you could watch it online. What's it got here? He might be charged with murder also. He is accused of shooting a PUC on the orders of Ben. He refused. He refused to answer certain questions at the civil trial on the grounds he might self-incriminate. This is the just some of the text. He was in the Battle of Tizak next to Ben and received a medal as well. He has major mental issues and is medicated. Person 11 is accused of shooting the man. Ben is accused of kicking down the cliff on the orders of Ben. He was person four's best friend and best man. Person four straight out said he saw person 11 shoot the guy on the instruction of Ben. Person 11 says that never happened. And he shot a guy maneuvering in the cornfield. There's so much in here. Like these messages are pretty long, and there, so I probably won't read through all of them. But it gave me, I was like, holy heck, like where was I when all of that was happening? Obviously, I was here in NZ, but I wasn't aware that you could just go online and watch, like log in, jump into the whatever thing they had set up and watch the trial unfold. He's referenced, yeah, person seven and a whole bunch of other things in that in here. Um, I won't worry about reading through that because that was never on my list, but it just popped into my head just now with regards to maybe there's a bunch of other people that have watched that same trial unfold. Um, Blows my mind again that that was even available to watch online. I would have tuned in had I known, just to watch and get a bit more of an idea or understanding of what was being said. I probably would have. There's at least two people that gave evidence from which is mentioned in that long thread of things in there. The patrol commander being one, and the Kiwi lad that was in the patrol. And yeah, he just mentioned some comments about their testimony, which was quite funny, apparently, from when he was tuning in, or he found parts of it funny anyway. The person that sent me that is not a Defence Force member. I don't believe they've served at any stage in terms of the military, but just had a keen interest, and seems like they went into it, impartial, wanting to see and hear, and probably maybe like many others, crossing fingers and whatever that hopefully this stuff isn't true. And then it seemed to have died off for, at least from my understanding, for a long period of time where it was just these allegations there in the mist. Nothing was happening. And now, something has happened whereby, in regards to Ben Robert Smith specifically, whereby those collecting the evidence have felt to move and execute an arrest, and lay charges based on, yeah, 5 murders by the sounds of things. So it sounds like there's a heck of a lot more and or stuff to come out, and maybe that person, the number, forget the number that it was, who refuse to answer certain questions on the basis that they may self-incriminate or incriminate themselves, whatever the wording is, maybe they're just going to come out and let it all out. Maybe that's that enough is enough point, or line that I was trying to talk about before. Like, when is enough enough? In terms of, you're saying these things that you saw are wrong. Okay, like what's next? What are you going to do now? What are you going to do about it? So yeah, interesting. Anyway, I might have gone off topic here. I get that here's your friend, but oh yeah, that was the last one. Okay, alleged to have murdered 5 people, and yeah, again, the mindset of those that have convicted Ben Robert Smith before due process has taken place. Um, yeah, that's your prerogative, I suppose, eh? Like, but that's not where I sit. Uh, Next one. Prosecution evidence must be substantial for the charges to be laid and a warrant for arrest to be issued at the federal level. So there are a number of, so that's cool. Like, I don't profess to know that that's the case, but to me, in my head, it makes sense. It makes sense that the prosecution has taken more than a decade. There's been, from last time I remember, I think I did a reaction to this, over $250 million spent. So 260 odd $1 million has been spent over the last however many years it's taken to investigate. There were 50 odd from that press conference release, 50 something, which resulted in 39 being, from what I gather, essentially closed, but not closed, eh? Like, those 39 that are closed, they're only closed subject to new information, or new evidence being presented. So then they would just reopen them again, and those 39 other individuals will be back under investigation. So who knows how long that is? What's that? 20 years, 30 years, 40 years down the track? Oh, new evidence. Okay, you're back under investigation now, for whatever happened or what is alleged to have happened back at this time. Like that's a lot of um, just a heavy weight and burden for anybody to carry. And I know I've seen people have reached out, or not reached out, people have shared, commented, emailed, messaged in regards to um, what's the name, UK soldiers and that sort of thing, working in and out of or fighting in Northern Ireland and all that sort of stuff. You know, there's been guys, from what I understand, that have basically had a heavy weight hanging over them for the last 30, 40 years for their actions or their involvement um, during that conflict or that time. And man, I could not imagine just, they're not free and clear. They're not out of the woods, so to speak. They're just, it's like a pause. They've just hit pause. Um, we don't have enough evidence to move on you at this time, to charge you, to arrest you. But just know, like, if something comes up, it may be 20 years down the track, it may be 50 years down the track. Just know we're going to come back to you. We're going to uncheck pause and we're going to blank and roll on in and arrest you, whatever, if they've got some supposed new evidence. That's a massive, massive, massive weight and burden for anybody to carry. Um, yeah, it just seems ridiculous to me again, in that regard. So yeah, where was I on here? Evidence. I can only assume, um, I guess, like many others, with it going to a federal court or federal police being involved. I assume it's at the highest level in terms of how this court case or trial is gonna play out. That the prosecution must be very confident in their evidence. That's it. You know, that's what comes to mind immediately for me, because listening to old mate that was talking, standing next to the female, the AFP police commissioner, the lady. Sorry, I can't remember their names, but he. And I think I spoke about this yesterday. eh, To me, when he spoke, it sounded like I was like, "Well, what evidence have you got then? Like, you can't access the site, you don't have the body, there's been no autopsy, no weapons in regards to the allegations of murder that have taken place." Um, I think he referenced the blood splatter, like the things that they could do in a domestic setting. And I'm repeating myself here on some of the stuff that I spoke about yesterday, just because of these other questions that I'm and comments that I'm speaking to today. Um, because not everybody has seen the other two lives. So this is the third consecutive live on a day I don't really do lives. So usually not on Thursday, not yesterday, and whatever other day it was. Um, on the back end, that man, the old inbox and message bank has been full. Um, I've replied to a number of these people, a number of other ones just directly, and for the most part, I've just said, "Hey, I'll just do a live." Some of them I've just gone, "Hey, I've already done a couple of lives in regards to what's been happening." And I've just been doing the lives, haven't been giving them any special label or any special thumbnail, because uh, contrary to some of the comments that have come through, or questions, and from supporters as well that have come through, going, "Oh, mate, you should do some reactions to what's going on with Ben Roberts-Smith. I think it'll be good for the channel." Um, when I read those comments, uh, like in my head, it's like me doing a reaction to a mate that's going through a really difficult, challenging time has got nothing to do with me wanting to try to create a clickable thumbnail to um, get people's interest, to come up with a catchy title that causes people to pause or stop and go, "Oh, what's he got to say?" That's the last thing on my mind. Um, yeah, that's the last thing on my mind with regards to the channel. So the last two lives, including this live, there is going to be no special thumbnail. There is going to be no special title for it. Like if somebody clicks on it and they decide to watch it, and they happen to be looking for something that's talking about Ben Roberts-Smith or whatever, then good luck, they found one. All right, but that's not the yeah, it's not appropriate, it's not right, in my head anyway for me, and that's not why I'm trying to go through these questions, comments, and stuff that's come through here. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense, but I do acknowledge those that have mentioned that with it coming from a good place, because those are people that have been supporting my channel since I had like less than 100 subscribers. So I do acknowledge and appreciate that it was, at least in my head, coming from a good place from them. But and I've sent them a message. So, yes, could it help the channel get more views? Probably. If I did a catchy thumbnail and I did the titles and then I started pumping it out and then I do a video like this and then I create shorts of it, could it help the channel? Probably. Do I care about that right now? No, I don't. So, anyway, the evidence, they must have strong evidence, I'm assuming, but I still, uh, is it just, well, I shouldn't say just, is it all eyewitness testimony that is going to be used? So essentially, what does that mean? In my head, I'm thinking, does that mean it's RS's word against several other eyewitnesses? Like in my head, that's how it's playing out. But again, I'm no legal expert or guru or anything like that. So I don't on it. Nobody has any idea, and nobody knows if RS is guilty or not, apart from forming their own opinions and then coming out and stating them. No different to what I'm doing, really. Just that a number of people, I suppose, feel more comfortable pointing fingers and throwing stones from behind a screen and behind a made up username, as opposed to actually uh, putting themselves out there and saying, "Here I am, and this is why I think this person is guilty." You know, there's plenty of people behind the scenes from I wouldn't even call it the shadows, just behind the scenes, probably sitting on their couch like what I'm doing now, that are more than happy to cast stones without um, ever putting their face out there and or ever giving any rationale as to why, other than the media said or other than his own mates from the unit said. Yeah, you know. So anyway, that's my take. Actually, just on that, I would be, I shouldn't use the term mate here in this case, but I shared with a few of the people that I've just responded to, because the name Andrew Hasty has come up a few times, even before this. But it came up a couple of times during, and fairly recently too, in regards to, I think there was a short video clip of him. He has been interviewed about Ben Robert Smith. It might have only gone for 5 minutes or maybe less. And he was talking in the end, so I was listening to it. I wasn't doing a reaction video to it at the time. I don't think I was anyway. And he was asked about, um, well, for his thoughts on Ben Robert Smith. I'll get to that later. But whether or not he witnessed or observed Ben Robert Smith being a bully or any war crimes. And essentially his answers were no. But what he had said, this is this guy, Andrew Hasty. I think he's a member of parliament in Australia. I don't know what his position is, but he said that he suspected. So where am I going with this? Hopefully I remember. But if he's a witness, I'd be like, what sort of witness is that to bring in? I'm not saying that he is, but then at the same time, where I'm going with this comment is, why was he even interviewed in the first place? He never saw any of that behavior. He didn't witness anything of what has been alleged against Ben Robert Smith, but he's been interviewed because he suspected. And then he went on to say that he hadn't had any interaction with Ben Robert Smith other than from or since his time when he was a student on selection in 2010. So correct me if I'm wrong, somebody that knows Andrew Hasty or whatever, I think he did selection in 2010 and passed. I think as an officer. I could be wrong on that too. Maybe he wasn't. Obviously, RS was well and truly badged and a senior soldier, senior operator within the regiment by that time. Um, RS and I did a course. He was one after mine in and around 2003. So I got there in 2002. He might have been during 2003 RSSS. So 7 years he's been in the unit by that stage. And where I switched off listening to Andrew Hasty at the time in that short interview was that he said, "Oh, yeah, I didn't have anything to do with Ben Robert Smith, since my time on selection in 2010, where then the reporter then said, and Andrew Hastie says that Ben Roberts-Smith treated him like a scumbag on selection. I did actually burst out laughing, just like I sort of let out a bit of a chuckle there, or a, I don't know what you call it, like a, that wasn't even a laugh at that time. Right now, that is. But I did laugh then when I heard that because I just thought, everybody's treated like a scumbag on selection. You're nothing special, bro. Like, it doesn't matter where you are. I'm yet to find anybody that's been through a selection in NZ, Australia, or the UK, or America for that matter, that's come out and said, man, they treated me really nice. If they did, bloody hell, there'd be a few eyebrows being raised at you, I would imagine, or at that person. But everybody's treated like a scumbag. Um, do officers get treated a little bit more with a little bit more extra uh, attention or maybe punishments? Yeah, probably. I think I've openly said in other reactions, I think officers have it harder on selection. They've got that additional officer testing phase on the end of the selection that they've already done with all the ORs or the other ranks. And then they've got their own special little piece that they've got to go through as well, which the ORs, the rest of us don't have to. So yeah, I've got no issue in saying, man, yeah, massive respect to those officers that go through selection that pass, because of that extra little 48, 72 hours on the end of what they've already done of either 21 days or 9 to 10 days here in NZ. Plus, you've got that extra 2 or 3 days tacked on the end. So it's hard work. There's no denying it, but everybody's treated like a scumbag. So yeah, I switched off there because I thought, you know, this guy Hasty, Andrew Hasty, should know better. Like, you get treated like a scumbag just like everybody else. You're on selection. What do you expect? You're not getting no 5-star treatment. That's part of the process to break you down to see, will you still be there? Do you still want this? How badly do you want it? Are you prepared to persevere through this? Are you prepared to, when those moments come and you're targeted and you are called out and made to look weak and useless, like, or a scumbag, will you still be there at the end? Like, that's part of the process. So, yeah, I just thought that was a pointless interview. Like, there's somebody, he hasn't witnessed anything. He's heard it from others, second, third hand, had his suspicions, and then had the cheek or the audacity to say, you know, Ben Roberts-Smith treated me like a scumbag on selection. It's like, bro, Ben Roberts-Smith would have treated anybody who was a candidate on selection with the same equal scumbagginess as he did you. If I was there, I would have treated the candidates the same as well, because it's like a rite of passage, right? Some people call it, was it hazing? I think hazing's a term in the US. Um, I don't see it as hazing. It's just part of the process, man. So pick your fat lip up and stop whinging about how RS treated you like a scumbag. Like, to me, that would not be a credible witness, right? I'm not saying that Andrew Hastie is going to be a witness, but I just left me scratching my head. Why is this guy being interviewed about RS in regards to war crime allegations if he didn't witness, see any? And if anything, if anybody's got half a brain and they're looking at it, looks like he's just whinging and moaning because he doesn't like the way he was treated on selection by one of the directing staff who just happened to be Ben Roberts-Smith at the time, or one who was one of the directing staff. So, yeah, anyway, that's my little rant off on a tangent there with regards to that one. When it comes to the evidence from the prosecution, must be, it doesn't take away that the evidence from the prosecution must be substantial. So, you know, we'll see what happens when it all plays out. And then, oh, well, I probably already answered this one. Why don't you do a reaction video to the news going on about BRS at the moment, Joe? Oh, no, this isn't in relation to that. Yeah, the last one. Cat got your tongue? Question mark. Yeah, nah, Cat doesn't have my tongue. I've done 2 other live, not reactions, but I've done 2 other live videos, predominantly in relation to what's happening with Ben Roberts, or what's happened with Ben Roberts-Smith. And this is the 3rd one in as many days, I think. So uh, people still want to reach out, question, comment, etc., which is cool. But also, I think some people that watch the channel because I've done nothing with the thumbnails and I'm not going to, because I've done nothing with the titles and I'm not going to. People like this probably think cat's got my tongue and that I'm not saying anything about it. But if I link that back to the first one that I spoke about here, like, why do you think that is? Like I said, people from the regiment, I think most normal people are just waiting for due process to run its course so that you then, will then find out one way or the other. Now, with that, how long is due process going to take to run its course? Anybody's guess, right? So, like I said, as far as I'm aware, Oliver Schultz hasn't stood trial yet. When that happens, I don't know. He was apparently charges were laid years ago, and there's still been no trial, and there's been no verdict, so no outcome. Aris just been arrested this week, taken into custody, currently at Silverwater. I think it's Silverwater Prison is the name in Sydney. Who knows how long that's going to take? And I just hope that he's not incarcerated the whole time while prosecution or calendars or dates align or the stars align so that they can then go to trial and then get this process rolling so that a result can come of it at the end to try to, I suppose, closure, to try to put some closure to it. I think I've failed to finish off what I was talking about earlier. Like if I was in Sydney, you know, I'd be looking. This is on the back end of some questions that come through. I'd be looking to pay a visit or reach out and see what the process is. Having worked at corrections here in NZ at the head office, but then going through some of the different prison processes, it's not you can't just rock up and go, oh, here I'm here to see Bob or whatever. And I would imagine somebody like RS, the profile around it would be huge or significant and probably need to go through lawyers, family lawyers, or whatever before you could even get there. But it's a time like this that, um, it would be for me personally. I would gladly go see him, spend time with him, just be there, let him know that, hey, bro, I'm here. I don't know if there's anything that I can do. It's likely nothing that I can do. But, if there is, and it's within my wheelhouse or within my ability to do something for you, then yeah, let me know. Um, if it meant just if it meant having a meeting and then talking about some of the comments that he shared, as long as he had given his authority to do that, I would do it. I don't think that that would be something because it's a massive trial coming up, and everything's going to be, I like to think, kept really tight um, to give him the best chance of navigating this space and this massively difficult leg of his life or part of his journey in his life at the moment. So yeah, that's my response to those questions that come through. Would I? 100%. I would link and go and see him. Bit hard when you're in another country, although it's only a 2-hour flight from NZ here to Sydney. But who knows? It would be yeah, it'd be good to for me anyway. But I think it'd be good for him if other people that he knows, that he has a friendship with or connection, that he knows is uh, not forgotten. You know, um, nobody's forgotten his actions, his bravery. Nobody's forgotten his service. I haven't forgotten what a menace he was on the rugby field, being next to him and being on the same team and having the privilege to be on the same team as him. Um, I haven't forgotten my interactions with him and the friendships, a friendship that I feel have built with him over time while we're there, even though we're in different units, different squadrons. So, you know, I'd, n- I'm, I'd never write him off, even if he was found guilty of these things that he's going through at the moment. I wouldn't be writing him off, and I think I touched on that on one of the other lives. He's still my mate to me. Would it be a good thing um, if those are things that he did if he's found guilty of it? No, of course not. It's like I don't know how many different ways to say it, right? It's I wouldn't condone it. The men that I served with, I never saw any of them looking to condone that. The men that you see on bravery and betrayal, if any of them were there, I could not imagine any of them putting up with it. Burnsy on bravery and betrayal, who was my OC when I was in one squadron, he was there coordinating and organizing from memory that Battle of Tizak, where RS was awarded as VC. Burnsy is as straight down the line a warrior as I've ever met, and as straight down the line of a warrior and of a leader that I've ever had. So I couldn't imagine. He's just one example. Weeksy is another one who's on there. Horse, he's another dude. May not be straight down the line, but he's another guy that is um, extremely professional and got a heart of gold, right? Like they're not ruthless, um, no brain blinking murderers. Okay, so that's been my experience with regards to those men. And there's other men in that and there whose names don't show up. Pez was one whose name did show up. Um, awesome guy. There's another guy in there, Masso. It doesn't show his name, but he's on the video. There's a handful of guys in there that I didn't know. Tony's on there, so I think it mentions his name as well. But those are some hearty warriors, in my opinion. Anyway, even the ones that I didn't know personally. So I couldn't imagine guys of that caliber sitting back. That's why, to me, it just blows my mind what I was mentioning earlier. That there's this group of people that would go through what they've gone through to get there, with this picture in their mind of what they believe the unit is about. And more than likely, that picture in their mind is right. And they've earned the right to be there. They continue to earn the right to be there, to then just sit by and let that stuff happen. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. Nobody knows how long it's going to take, least of all me. So those that have asked, like, I don't know. That's my that's my answer to there. So if there are any more questions in terms of how long do you think this will take before we get a result, I have absolutely no idea. I'd like to say that I wish and hope that it would be fast. But if it's taken this long to lay what effectively now in my mind is 2 charges of war crimes out of however many people that they've investigated over more than a decade to get to this point, I can't imagine the trial is going to be super fast, right? I could be wrong, but yeah, that's my take on that. So with regards to Ben Roberts-Smith, those are probably the questions and comments, opinions that I wanted to speak about in here. There may be some other ones because I'll be honest, I haven't gotten through all of them. I've gotten through a large chunk and I've replied to several, like I mentioned earlier. These are some of the ones that I haven't necessarily replied to, or not all of them anyway, other than saying, here, I'll do a live and you can either watch it and hear some comments there or miss it altogether because I didn't do a pretty little thumbnail or a title on it. So there's that. Some of the other stuff that has come through, though, has been in and around the Iran war. Again, I'm no expert on this stuff with regards to Trump and his his decision making and what they're doing. I suppose my thoughts and opinions on it. One of the questions that I got asked was, how long do I think the Iran and US and Israel war will go on for? Far out. That was supposed to be a in and out, wasn't it? Wasn't the war won after taking out the Ayatollah? That's some of the news that I remember hearing, or statements, and that there'd be a regime change, and then things would be, be better, not go back to normal, but supposedly be better. Doesn't seem like anything's gotten better. What turned out to be, or what was supposed to be a 2-day or 2-week war is, what are we? When did that start? In Feb? End of Feb? March, we're into April. So it's coming up to 2 months now, or 4, 5, 6 weeks, whatever, month and a half. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, bro. Those that have asked with regards to the Iran war, it'd be nice if it ended sooner, but I'll be honest, I think it's just going to go on for months, if not years. That's just my take. I hope I'm completely wrong, but I don't think anybody expected the Russia-Ukraine war to be going on for the years that it's been going on right now. I know I didn't. And to think that the Iran, US, and Israel war is going to end anytime soon, I think people are kidding themselves. Like, yeah, months, years. That's my take. That's my honest take in terms of this war, unless something drastic happens in terms of, dare I say, regime changes on both sides or all three fronts: Iran, US, and Lincoln, Israel. It's just crazy with regards to what's happening. I hear and have watched some of the videos that have been put out with regards to Trump and his comments. I think part of what won him the election was his drive and passion to end war and pull US troops out of Afghanistan, which I suppose, to be fair, he delivered on that, eh? And but the parts around ending war and not going to war, holy heck, the fella then went to war and took out the leadership of another country. Um, went and utilized the SF Delta Force to go and snatch the president or whatever it was of whichever country and his wife from another country. Doesn't sound like somebody that's looking to not get into conflict, if that makes sense. What I do like is the resources that have been used to go and get those US soldiers, the down pilots from the jets out. So I've watched that news, and that's great. Like however many millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, I think, invested to go and get their troops, and they've got them, and that's awesome. Nick Minute. Meanwhile, in Australia, we're spending near the equivalent amount to to investigate and then lay charges and prosecute um, veterans, and a number of those whose relationships with their spouses have ended, a number of soldiers who have taken their lives, not just in Australia, like all part of that coalition on the back end of, I suppose, their exposure in the global war on terror, but some of the scarring that's taken place for them. And I've not heard any numbers anywhere near those sorts of numbers been used to try to support those veterans that might need it. I feel fortunate. I don't feel like I'm somebody that needs to go to Veteran Affairs to get support for any physical or mental type needs. And so I'm, just blessed, fortunate that I'm in that space. Um, but there are hundreds, dare I say, thousands of others that aren't, right? And that could probably do with, some meaningful level of support. But, you know, the government and have chosen to go another route and do what they feel they need to do. And don't get me wrong, I think those things are important if those allegations have come about. They warrant being investigated. But the fact that it's taken over a decade and that so many lives and families and relationships have been destroyed as a result, yeah, it's hard to quantify or reconcile whether or not it's been worth it or if that's worth it. Um, yeah, in terms of that. So the Iran war, reason why I brought up that stuff is potentially the Iran war could have similar sort of consequences. Um, how was it not illegal to to bomb another country and kill people, their president or their leader, their ayatollah, whatever the wording is, and then just crack on? Like, okay, yeah, this is what we're doing. We've decided you're a terrorist nation. We've decided that you're a terrorist, that you're being pushed to create nuclear arms and weapons. So we're going to blow you up and we're going to take you out. Who writes the laws and the rules to just allow that to happen? Like, what's the yeah? You know, again, some people can do what they want without seemingly without any consequences. Um, I'd love to. Surely there's somebody out there with a YouTube channel that is a legal professional. Maybe there isn't. Maybe I just haven't stumbled across their videos. But if somebody has and knows somebody that has got a channel like that and that talks to this stuff from that perspective and why those types of decisions can be made and there's no repercussions for them, like they're not being charged with any war crimes or murder, um, I would love to just listen in, tune in. So those lawyers out there that know that, or that are in the know in terms of what can and can't happen and why this and that can and can't happen, man, it'd be cool to I don't know about cool, but it'd be interesting for me anyway to hear why that is. Because meanwhile, you've got frontline troops that are acting on the orders of the government to go and carry out and execute um, these tasks and these missions in highly volatile, high risk areas whereby the consequences, means that they don't walk the earth anymore. So they're risking their life, risking it every day, putting everything on the line pretty much every day for whilst they're there serving, doing what it is that they've been asked and sent to do by the government. Which again, I acknowledge that we've volunteered for. So there's no denying that. You volunteer for it, you put your hand up, you understand the consequences, the potential consequences and the risks associated with what you've signed up for. I'd like to think that that's fairly common sense for people that are going that route. But then where does the line get drawn in terms of accountability, responsibility when things happen? I 100% am comfortable with frontline soldiers being held to account if they've done stupid stuff on the front line. Like that's just me. Like you're not there to go and intimidate and murder innocent people within areas whilst you're a soldier or an operator within a unit, any unit, SF or otherwise. That's not your job. Um, and so if that stuff was to happen at that level, then yeah, those individuals 100% need to be called out. That leadership and that structure within that team on the ground needs to act on that straight away. Like you jump on that rubbish immediately, get it stopped. That person is out of country, gets taken back, debriefed, charged, whatever military process, and then just on the first Blinken flight back to their country and chucked into a holding pattern until such time as the military trial, for want of a better term, takes place, or whatever those legalities are around that. That 100% should happen. In terms of anything that's happening or soldiers being tasked and given direct orders or rules of engagement to carry out tasks within an area, depending on what those are, and then all of a sudden to come back and go, oh, that area is, you shouldn't have done that, so you soldiers are in trouble now. Well, that's something that shouldn't happen. um, Soldiers are working on the instructions that are provided to them by the government, by their seniors, by the intelligence that they get, and then they go out and act on it to the best of their ability, staying as flexible and as fluid as they can, making split-second decisions, which are literally the difference between life and death for them or their mates or their dogs, and or the civilians and children that are in those areas as well. Split-second decisions in the heat of battle, in the heat of the moment, especially the highly kinetic nature, which Afghanistan was. Way more kinetic than my time in Iraq. Like for me, with the regiment in Iraq, like the stuff that they were doing in Afghanistan, way more kinetic than the stuff that we were doing in Iraq in 2003 when things kicked off out in the Western Desert. So yeah, just that training and everything 100% would have come to the forefront for those operators operating in those environments. Yeah, and back to that split second decision making process that they need to do. So hope the government looks at what it is that they're doing and throws support where appropriate for veterans, for soldiers, for RS in this case as well. I think there's a couple, or maybe Pauline Hanson, maybe she's the only one that's called out and expressed her support for RS, which is awesome. So shout out to Pauline Hanson. I don't know her. I can't say that I support her because I have never voted for her or anybody over there in Australia or while she's been in politics anyway, not knowingly, unless she was part of John Howard's team. But it's cool that she's come out and said what she said. and put in her support with Ben Roberts-Smith. Anybody else, even those that don't support Ben Roberts-Smith, um, there is that process of innocent until proven guilty. So whether or not people want to apply that to this instance or not, and just run with the hype in the news and label RS a murderer, well, that's your choice, right? But yeah, as far as the trial, how long it will take, the process is the process, and let it run its course. That's what I say. And then, yeah, ended up coming back to BRS after I was talking about the Iran stuff and the questions that came through around there. Months and years is what I'll say about Iran. I think that's how long it's going to go on for. Uh, how long is it going to affect the oil and all that sort of stuff, prices and all that sort of thing? Who knows? Bloody hell! My wife and I are heading off to Perth next week because our nephew's getting married. So we're heading over there to, hopefully enjoy in that celebration with family and friends and stuff over there. With any luck, I might get a chance to pay a visit to some of the lads that may be still over there or that are still over there, and maybe stop by and catch up with some of them if they've got time. In saying that, if if my wife and I have got time, there's a big long list of people that we'd like to try to see while we're there in a short period of time, and it may not all be possible. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's about it as far as the Iran stuff. Who's messaging me? Come on, phone. So maybe it's because of the Samsung phone. Oh, nobody. Anyway, that's my take on there. I don't know that there's anybody on here. I don't even know if there's any comments or questions. Let me have a look. Oops, cancel that. Are there questions on here? Sorry. Decided to use the bloody laptop, and now I still can't see the if anything was coming through. My bad. Oh, what's going on, mate? Bloody rubbish. Move that. Let's make that bigger. How do you separate? So the right click. Let's try that. Oh no, that didn't work. Sorry, you may be stuck. If you are here, just staring at me, trying to work out how to drive this thing. Separate views. All right, let's see if that's done anything. Oh, heck. Okay, I just separated the screen because I had it in split view. What's this? Public chat. Heston Russell's new podcast he did was a great listen. Okay, cool. Is that the one with Mic Drop? Maybe it's the one on Mic Drop. I haven't seen it yet. I've seen bits and pieces of it. So yeah, that'll be cool to watch. Hi Joe. Hey bro. Truth. The only truth is the faceless people. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on the comments and stuff. Apologies if you were asking questions as I was going. I was bloody in my own little world. Where are we? Faceless people make up fairy tale. Truth is the bloody hell. This thing is just I don't know how to keep it there. And then I think a new comment comes in, and then it just it drops right down to the latest. There's probably a setting which I haven't done anything with. Should charge with the crimes that have been put to soldiers sent be then put to soldiers sent be them. Bloody hell. Well, I'm going to take my time and go through this anyway. I don't have to rush into doing anything else. See if I can get through these in case there's questions in here. Apologies if I haven't answered them or if you've dropped off. Is it true that this S. Huckery was born from within Australian SF groups? I'm not sure what you mean. If you mean the allegations of war crimes, possibly. I know I've seen some medic faces guys that were medics attached to the unit, that have spoken about things that, even then, I don't know that it was things that they specifically saw. It was they were in the area and they heard. I think one of the medics might have been, Dusty was one of the medics. I think that's the nickname. Spoke about, yeah, I think he was working on somebody. I think he was talking, referring to Ben Robert Smith at the time, saying maybe he's one of the witnesses who then took that person away. Next time he saw RS, he was like, "Oh, what happened to the guy? Where is he?" And I think he said that RS said, "Oh, he didn't make it. The guy didn't make it." So again, it doesn't sound like he saw or witnessed anything firsthand. Like that's yeah, that's what I heard anyway in the reaction. It's a shame because YouTube has blocked the bloody reactions that I did on that documentary with regards to BRS, and I think I did at least two, and they might have each been over an hour long each one. Like I said, I can see them in my YouTube studio. They're fully just blocked by YouTube. They've had several thousand views on them. Uh, that was back when people were going, "Oh, why don't you do a reaction to this? Your mate who's apparently a war criminal." There were some negative comments like that, which I was like, "Yeah, I don't mind doing a reaction to it. I'll do that." So that's what I did. Gave my thoughts, and then people put down their comments, and then YouTube decided to block them. So I don't know. Came across a possibly yesterday at Threads and tried to reason with him. Can't really talk sense to him. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, not alone. I think I used your one as an example in terms of a number of similar messages. I've met a couple of lads from the regiment and a lad from 2 Commando back in Irwin Barracks Open Day. They were pretty nice lads, open-minded, had a really nice chat with them. They're decent people. Yeah, I think all of them, commandos, operators, Defence Force members in general, by and large, for the most part, they are just normal normal people. Even the ones that go off into the SF space, um, regardless of what many people outside of that area look at and have an opinion. I can't, man. If I had a dollar for every time I've heard civilians, complete civilians, who have no idea about military, but their perspective of what an SAS soldier is, say, "Oh yeah, they're a bunch of psychos," or "I heard they're a bunch of psychos," or "They've got something not mentally right upstairs for them to go to a unit like that," I'd probably have about $15. Yeah. So, but it's just interesting to me that there are a number of people that have that perspective. Maybe that's changed now. I think a lot of stuff that has changed recently is probably, and I probably haven't added to it, or I've probably added to it, or haven't added to it, depending on how you look at it, is that a number of people uh, have viewed SF now as sort of, well, dare I say, sort of like Desperate Housewives. So I've read some of the comments on some of the other channels, and it's just, I can't help but laugh because I just think to myself, "Oh man, yeah, that's probably not that I've watched Desperate Housewives, but I can get a, I can have a picture in my mind of sort of what that sitcom drama must be like because I have watched, grew up in that era where Young and the Restless was on, and Santa Barbara and Days of Our Lives. So those bloody soap operas or whatever they're called. Um, so when people have shared that Desperate Housewives comment, has sort of cast my mind back to, yeah, just, oh, more Days of Our Lives, bloody drama happening in that space. And so that's a little, it's funny, but it's also sad as well at the same time that that is uh, probably likely viewed that way by a lot of people these days. And I think it's more so to do with SF soldiers putting down or calling out other SF soldiers, with regards to either things that they've claimed to be involved in or things that they've claimed to have done, or yeah, other bits and pieces. So it's, yeah, disappointing. And then you read some of the comments, I should say, of people saying, uh, what happened to the quiet professionals? What happened to those days where, you don't hear about what's been going on, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas these days, there's just a heck of a lot of stuff online, and not all of it good. So I could understand where a number of people are coming from with regards to the comments and that in there. But that's cool that your experience with those guys, 2 Commando, et cetera, was positive. G'day, Joe. I hope you are feeling well, especially in the last couple of days. BRS is innocent until proven guilty. Yeah, I'm with you, bro. Like, I've been fine. Thank you for the comment and the message. Oh, 100%. It's just um, BAU, business as usual for me with regards to what I do each day and what I have the privilege of doing, and then trying to not get swept up in probably personal feelings and emotions too much in regards to BRS. But I'll be honest, like, yeah, I feel for the bro in terms of where he's at. I feel for him in terms of the way he was brought into custody. Very public, very dramatic, for want of a better term, and the impact that that has on him, his partner, children, family, friends, etc. So, yeah, feeling for the brother at the moment in terms of where he's at, but he's a very strong, resilient, capable man, and if anybody's going to fight the good fight, um, I can tell you what, it's going to be him. Uh, no doubt in my mind. If anybody's going to fight and stand up and push on and confront everything that he has had thrown at him, it's going to be RS. And yeah, for me, you know, nothing. I want nothing but the best for him and his family, those close to him, etc. So yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. The problem for BRS is apparently he has multiple SASR members testifying against him. It's going to be a hard road trying to get acquitted. Yep, very, very likely could be. I agree. It doesn't paint a good picture, hence why I was saying, the evidence must be very, very strong for for everything that's taken place to be executed and carried out. The arrest, put in prison, sorry, not convicted, arrested and charged with those things that have come about. Reference last comment, it was nothing like what the media had described about the regiment. I'm sure RS wasn't a bad person by heart. Yeah, I never saw any of it in terms of if he was a bad person. Um, I think my take when I look at operators in the unit and when I've served with them, I looked at all of them probably fairly similar. Like there's some guys there that just the most unassuming people you would ever suspect. You'd be like, no way in a million years is that guy an operator in the SAS. Hell no, that person's not. He is. There's no way he is an operator in the SAS. Look at him, just on looks alone. But then not looks from a you know, bloody a vain perspective or from a build perspective, but just flat out looks like they work behind a desk. They look like a a, a strong wind would blow them over. You know, that sort of look is what I'm talking about. And then the personalities and the way they speak, it would, dare I say it, would confirm for anybody looking at them 1,000%. Nah, there's say what you like, bro. There's no way you're going to convince me that you were ever a soldier in the SAS. So that I might be in that category too. Doesn't matter. But where was I going with that? Oh, your comment wasn't a bad person at heart. I look at all the guys in the unit, just like, man, it just blew my mind again about how vastly different the guys are within the unit, their backgrounds, their upbringing, their personality, their culture, what they bring to the unit. But at the same time, for me, knowing that they likely have a similar mindset and that in an instant they will switch and you see a completely different person. Um, Time, place, circumstance, obviously. But when it's time to work, man, I saw I saw guys that I would have thought, no way they're an operator, change in an instant and thought, I'm not mucking around with that person. Um, that's me personally, because everything just shifted in their presence, their physical presence, how they spoke, their mental presence, where their mind was, what they were focused on, what they were communicating, and what they were pushing towards doing. And it was humbling, inspiring, and incredible for me to see, to witness, and to be a part of. So yeah, it's my take. They're good people. They're very good people, capable of doing what's required in those moments, as and when necessary. And they have it, my experience, by and large, not everybody, because none of, nobody's perfect, and it's not a perfect organization, and the selection criteria isn't perfect, etc., but it's bloody rigorous, and it's a heck of a lot harder than it is to get a job in any other place. Mind you, with all the unemployment stuff happening, going off on a tangent here, it may be pretty difficult to get a job these days. But the selection process, yeah, man, they do a great job in terms of identifying the right types of people, by and large, with the right mindset, who are grounded down to earth, but are capable of carrying out what is a very challenging and difficult job in very difficult and challenging circumstances. That's been my experience anyway. So, yeah. Smith's arrest. Thought on Ben Robert Smith's arrest. Uh, Elena Louise, 27. Oh, yeah. I've been waffling now for how long have I been going? Over an hour. I've been rambling for over an hour. Where's the bloody house? Just lost it again in terms of where the comments go. Sorry. Elena Louise, 27. Yeah, so I don't know if you, depending on where you came into my ramblings, you may either want to go back and have a look, or you might want to just go, yeah, no, I'm not sitting here for an hour. G'day. Hey, bro. Hey, mate, tuning in from Perth. Love your videos, brother. Oh, thanks, bro. Appreciate it. There is politics in how people react to this case. For people on the left of politics, taking down an SASR member, even more so, a VC winner is a huge scalp. Yeah, okay. I'm no expert in politics, so this left and right rubbish, I have no idea. We're supposedly voting for people that want to do right by our countries, right? Supposedly, that want what's best for our economy, that want what's best for our people, for employment, for prosperity, in other words. And this left and right rubbish or hoo-ha, I have no idea. So if that's the case, yeah, it's stupid. It's another one of those stupid things. Any modern soldier should wear a GoPro every time they leave the wire to protect themselves from any future allegations. Yeah, who knows what's happening in that space. My time, you weren't running around with GoPros on jobs and that sort of thing. So yeah, obviously times have changed a lot, and yeah, maybe that's what they're doing now. It's good to. Sorry, bro, it just skipped again. It's good to get perspective from a friend of RS than all the trivial clickbait speculation. Respect to you for not promoting yourself on the back of your mate's hardship. Yeah, like that just, there's not a, thanks for the kind words. Yeah, he is a mate of mine. I'm not looking to put out a bloody big presentation or promotion of, here I am giving my thoughts on the Ben Robert Smith situation. Hasty was in the search for Warriors selection. Yeah, I did hear that. I shouldn't say I thought so, but I did hear that. So I think somebody else mentioned that before. So yeah, he's, obviously a veteran. Respect to him. Gone through the process, earned his place there. But I just didn't like the comments that I was hearing. I was just like, what's the point of this one? Andrew Hasty was in the SBS documentary Search for Warriors. SAS documentary, I think is what you mean. But yep, I get you. Do you have to sign an NDA in the SAS, Joe? Do you have to sign an NDA? Let me just cast my mind back. Did I sign an NDA? Nope, nothing. I don't just. So the reason I'm casting my mind back is because there is a whole march out process and documentation that you got to complete when you march out and leave the unit. Nah, not during my time. Things may be different now, and depending on what tasks or jobs that you may have been involved in, there may be a certain process that they have to go through that you can't disclose or talk about. Certain events which may be publicly released years down the track or whatever the case might be. But for me, no, I didn't sign. Pretty sure I didn't sign an NDA. No. What is Cat Got Your Tongue all about? What is that? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. The same thought that I had. I was like, bro, clearly you haven't had a look at the channel. Um, I think people thought I was, because of my bias, which I've spoken about, and friendship with RS. I think people thought that I wouldn't do a reaction to the war crime allegations, and hey, look, there's witnesses here saying that RS did this. So, oh, okay, yeah, well, I'll have a watch. I had no problem doing a reaction to it, and likewise, I got no problem sharing my opinion on what's happened recently. But yeah, the cat got your tongue piece, I just thought, well, maybe that's somebody that hasn't been following the channel or has just stumbled across it, or maybe they have been watching, maybe they, didn't see the other two lives or whatever. But either way, hopefully, if they see this live, because I have replied to some of those comments, as I mentioned, and just said, yeah, I'll do a live on this. Maybe they'll see a live pop up and they can watch it and then probably throw more stones or cast more opinions or whatever. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I thought it was pretty rubbish comment. Joe, does the ADF account and logs for ammunition that is sent out and then returned back? If they do, that'd be a logistics task, not for operators. The other thing with it, the wooden account and be very difficult to account for every single round because of not only the training and the build up, but also test fires that take place before you go out on every task. You always do a test fire of your weapon um, to make sure that it's going to work. Uh, you don't want to be just fully bombing them up. And then the other thing is your magazines and ammunition, how much you carry. If anybody's watched the Bravery and Betrayal documentary, essentially wartime's conflict, it's a bit of a like having a blank check almost. And so you have all of this weaponry and armory at your disposal to use as you see fit, to kit yourself up as you see fit. Now, again, I don't know, and I've never heard of anybody other than an American individual who I think goes by the name of Tim Kennedy, who I don't know, but people have come back and said, "Have you heard about the Tim Kennedy story and carrying a bag of 50 grenades or 30 grenades?" I think it's blowing up over time. Might have been 20 grenades, went to 30, went to 50. I think is one of the last comments that I read or that I heard or that I've been spammed with. Now, even though I say essentially a blank check, you're not going out there carrying a bag just full of grenades. Like that never happened during my time. It did make me laugh when I heard that though. But in terms of the logistical piece to try to account for every round, nah, it's that that never happened during my time. I don't think that happens now, not in conflicts like that. Maybe just from an overall logistics, here's the order of what we're ordering coming over. Um, Bless the loggies, eh? And the storemen and all that sort of stuff, or store personnel that go through, do the checks and balances of equipment and kits and that sort of thing. As an operator, as a soldier on the ground, we never had to never had to worry about doing that. The only time really you're going to be rechecking your ammunition and redistributing is when you're doing a battlefield clearance or you're or at the end of that actually, and you're consolidating and checking. So on Bravery and Betrayal, one of the guys come back, I think had 1 round left in his magazine. Uh, Guys in various conflicts when they're consolidating, because depending on where you are, if you're fire support and you're hammering the target so that your assault force can come around and take out the target, you are chewing through a lot of ammo. So you're going to take a heck of a lot more. Doesn't mean your ammo is going to last longer than everybody else's. And then as fights happen or conflicts happen, contacts happen, different pods or groups may end up being fire support or fire suppression, while the other group then now becomes the assault force. So you're always going to be running through ammunition at various stages to varying degrees, depending on where you are in the fight. So when it comes time to redistribute, um, some guys might only have 1 mag left, other guys have got 4 or 5 mags left. So then you're handing that out. That's on the ground. So taking all that into account, you may lose mags on the battlefield. Hopefully you don't, but you might lose a full mag, you might lose half a mag, you might lose empty mags. Just losing a mag in general isn't ideal, especially when you want to rebomb your magazines with ammunition. But all of that stuff that's happening, it's a bit of a nightmare back logistically back in the forward operating base for those back there too, because they're now trying to get stuff if there needs to be a resupply in situ. So if they need to bomb up choppers or aircraft or whatever, depending on the task, and fly in and either drop stuff in or drop personnel off in or drop crates of ammunition and stuff in. So it's a massive um, lot of logistical work and admin. And in those moments, you're not going to be able to. I can't imagine the store personnel and the loggies keeping track of all the ammunition. It's just too big a task. And soldiers, when they come back, it's not like they're going out and I'm saying, "Yep, I've got 10 mags and I've got two 200 round belts for the machine gun, and I've got blinking 20 racks of 40 mil for my Mark 19 gun here in the vehicle." Like that's just not going to happen. Then you got your sidearm and pistol rounds and magazines. So that doesn't happen when you go out. And we definitely didn't do it when we come back and said, "Yep, I'm all out of ammunition." Everything that I signed out before I left or that you got me to sign for, I don't have any of it anymore. Like that just doesn't happen in that environment. As far as I'm aware, it still doesn't happen today, or that wouldn't happen in operations, doesn't happen today. In training, you sign out your weapons. We didn't sign out ammunition, but you get an allocation of ammunition and you just chew through it. You use it to achieve the task and practice the drills and the training that you need to do for that period of time. I think the better language to say is that not all people are born evil. Yeah, I'm not sure what that's in relation to, but yep, fair enough. Yep, good comment. The civil case, those details were fully absent. The question is, can they be investigated? Yeah, I don't know. Good question, bro. Like, and thank you also. You put a good summary on the channel as well. On might have been the live. So appreciate your comments and things in there. So that's cool. Afternoon from a warm Queensland. Hey, Billy. You can't win with just air power. Yep, that's right. We're seeing that with, well, unless you're talking about the Iran stuff right now, but we're seeing that play out, aren't we? Um, what was it? They own the air, they rule the oceans and stuff as well, as far as I'm aware. I don't know that there's any troops on the ground yet. No one knows what the US administration's key strategy objectives are. Yep. And what they consider a victory. We also are unsure if they have changed their war doctrine. Heston Russell's new podcast. Oh, yeah. Thank you for that. Mention that. If that's the mic drop one, I have seen bits and pieces of it. It looks pretty cool. So, yeah, it'd be good to see that. Hey, bro, you still live? Going well? Still live? Yes, I am. Depending on when you came into this, bro, I am. Oh, when did you come? 4:52. So it's 5:18 right now on my time. Yeah, bro, I'm still jabbering on, just trying to go through to see if there's any questions. Under international humanitarian law, there is no lawful concept of targeting a country as an identity. Armed forces of A are engaging lawful targets within B. Oh, okay. Hey, darling, wife is home. She doesn't know that I'm on a live. That's all right. Hey, brother, Sean, Ben Hayes with the USA guy. Oh, you locked out? Sorry. I didn't lock the door. You sure you can do it? Come on, mate. Get those muscles going. Can you open that door or do I need to come open it? Oh, my goodness. Come on, man. Here I go to go open up the door for my darling. Hang on. It's all right. I got it. Next minute. I'm just doing a live.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, you're all right. I just told everybody how your muscles aren't working. You need to do some more training. Okay. All right. Oh, I had to shift that as well. Sorry. What's this? Bum, bum, bum. Thanks for that again. Cole M-Y2T for Tango. You fellas put your spirits on the line. BRS spirit saved life, but also has to wrestle with doing the opposite as a soldier. Dangerous territory. Yeah, 100%. That's a great way of putting it. Yeah, that's an awesome way of putting it. Yeah, you still gotta be able to look yourself. My take, you still need to be able to look yourself in the mirror, at the end of the day when you come home from task, from missions, or from whatever it is that you do during the day. You don't have to be a soldier to, I think, to be in a position whereby you come home at the end of the day and you want to look yourself in the mirror. um, and like the reflection that you see looking back at you, based on how your day's gone, what you've done for the day, or yeah, what you've done at any stage during that time. So I think that's applicable to anybody, not just soldiers. That's my take anyway, because I know there's been times, since I've been out where I've come back and not been super stoked about what I've done in the day, just in terms of whether it's been attitude, whether it's been not performing as well as what I could have from a work perspective, and yeah, when those days happen, they've hit me hard, and then I've needed to give myself a wake up and then get back on track and do what I need to do. So yeah, it is dangerous, can be dangerous territory from a soldiering perspective, though, in terms of the work that they've needed to do and that they have done, and then wrestling with that. Um, I love that was my first time seeing the photo of RS carrying, I think it was an officer, if I read the write up correctly, over his shoulders during what would have probably been part of a reorg or consolidation and during the Battle of Tizak. It may have been still during active live firing, it probably still was. But yeah, seeing that photo just put into perspective uh, what the boys were going through. It gave it even more context for me looking at just seeing that photo. Heard about that, heard Aris talk about it, heard about other guys talking about how a few guys got hit as soon as the choppers landed. They're down personnel straight away, heavily outnumbered, um, firepower outnumbered as well by a numerically superior enemy force, but not outmanned, if you know what I mean, in terms of the quality of the soldiers that went in there. RS being one of those soldiers, and then seeing that, just hit, like for me, here's the guys that are doing the business on the front line, hundreds and thousands of kilometers away from home, uh, nobody to see what it is that they're doing, nobody to see what it is that they're going through, and that's how they like it, that's how they want it. Somebody took that picture, whoever that is. I'd love to know who that was, unless it was one of those bloody media twats, Mackenzie and whatever the other fella's face was. Then I've got no interest in thing. But if it was somebody else, then yeah, I'd love to know who took that photo or who was taking those photos at that time, and if there's any other ones. But says a lot um, about the individuals and stuff there, about anybody willing to risk it all, to go into an environment like that while still looking to look out for their mates, others sacrificing themselves, being willing to sacrifice themselves in the process if that was to happen. Um, Makes me question, how did all the media know he was getting arrested at the airport? Yeah, bro. Yeah, I think I was touched on that too. Just it was, to me, it was made to be a spectacle, um, and just it lacked, in my opinion, my biased opinion for what it's worth, it lacked the dignity and respect that he, in my opinion, deserves, regardless, you know. Um, and the leaks that are there, media have their inside people uh, in law enforcement, no doubt, to get the scoops, so to speak, and to be in a position to be able to capture that information for the supposed benefit of public interest and the public need to know. Um, yeah, there's piss poor, is my take on that in terms of what was done there on all fronts. That will never land on the ears of those that need to hear it, and they'll just keep doing it regardless. So yeah, anyway, as a history graduate from UWA, it's nice to get a perspective from me on what it's like serving in the regiment. Sorry about the stupid internet defending comment I made earlier. No, you don't need to apologize, man. Um, it's it's humbling that there are people like you and others that would take the time, um, who I'm assuming you don't know RS personally, and or maybe you've never met him, maybe you have met him, but that you would take the time to, try to convince somebody else, as pointless as that may be, of that there's a process. Maybe that's what you're doing, just trying to tell them, hey, he's innocent until proven guilty. That's different to trying to convince somebody to go, no, I think he's innocent because of this, or I think he's guilty because of that. So no apology needed from me, bro. Appreciate you taking that time and sharing it. After watching B&B and listening to Burnsy's podcast, it changed my view from what I first heard from Nine Media when I first arrived in WA. I get a balanced point of view comparing two different sources. Yeah, cool. Nice. I think I may have missed stuff because this thing has just been skipping, so sorry if I did. Just going back now. No, maybe I didn't. Let's close that. No, I think I got all of those. If I missed anybody's comment in the chat, I apologise. Oh, here we go. The left of politics is like Labour, Greens, Democrats. Okay. I'll be honest, bro. I still don't. I've heard those terms. Yeah, Labour, Greens, Democrats. Can't say I've taken any interest in terms of what that means. And I don't know that I I don't know that I will. I probably should, right? But yeah, it just does not interest me. Like you've got the Beehive or whatever the equivalent is in Australia, where they're there, they film these debates or discussions where they're throwing questions in and around the place, referring to the speaker, whatever their job is, to maintain order or just yell out order and that's enough or whatever. And it just seems like a group of people that have a whole bunch of power but have no brains and don't know what to do, and that instead of focusing on trying to make the economy better, instead of trying to address the issues that that the public and that communities are facing, unemployment, pressure in terms of cost of living, all those sorts of things, um, they just seem more focused on blaming each other, just Labor did this, National did this, or we inherited this from National, or we inherited this from Labor. Or their financial person that did the forecasting, it was their fault that $1 billion just vanished off the books and they can't explain where it went or whatever. I just think to myself, why would I want to vote for that? Like, what's the point in me putting in a vote to see a group of people dominating the conversation in the relevant house or whatever it's called, and all they're doing is arguing and seem hell bent on blaming the other side and pulling each other down. It's the same when the election campaigns happen. My take, and maybe it's different now because I haven't been watching any of the election campaigns and stuff when they happen. But when when I did see them, it just seemed like every election campaign that's been put up was specifically intended to pull the other party down. Imagine, because I'm assuming they're fairly intelligent people in those parties, right? Again, I'm no bloody Einstein, I don't know. But I assume they're fairly intelligent people within those groups, within those parties and I'd like to think there's some really genuine people that want to see good things happen in their country, whether it's the US, whether it's here in NZ, whether it's in Australia, UK, wherever. And with that intelligence that I assume they have, with that desire of genuinely wanting to help their people and their country and their economy be prosperous, successful, etc., with all those things, I'd like to think, imagine if they leveraged the expertise, the knowledge, the brains, the sincerity in terms of wanting that success for their countries, etc. Imagine if they flipped the narrative and said, "How about we work together? Hey, we did this financial forecast budget. It's been crap, right? You guys seem to think that you could make this better. What if we worked together?" That term that gets used in leadership and companies and even in governments, collaboration. What if we collaborated together and we actually, you put your input in, you maybe identify things that we're not seeing, whereby we're causing these issues. Maybe we identify things in what you're presenting that could make this better, or vice whatever. But imagine if they collaborated. This is just my take, my thoughts that go on in my head. Instead of looking to bring the other side down, instead of highlighting all the maybe legitimate damage that people have caused, maybe that damage was caused unintentionally. Somebody intentionally looking to damage their country and the economy, etc., the environment. Well, that's a different story. That's just an idiot. And then just if they've breached something, then arrest them and chuck them in jail. But if it's been unintentional, depending on what it is, obviously some things are bigger than others. And if that person or those persons or that party is open to, man, we need to make this right, we want to make this better. And if old mate over here in the National Party or the Greens Party or whatever other party has got an idea of how to make that better, why wouldn't you look to collaborate rather than pull them down and say, nah, your way's rubbish because back when you guys did this and however many years ago, it was no good then, so it'll be no good. Like, just seems pointless. So why do people vote for these people that are making it their mission to pull down the other party, to distract and pull votes away from them so that they get the votes? We talk about uh, not tooting our own horn and not blowing our own trumpet, not chest beating. And we talk about, oh, I don't like people that, just want to blow their own horn and toot their own trumpet, etc., and make themselves out to be this great thing. But essentially, those that vote, and they're probably the same people saying those things, that they don't like that. Well, it seems to me that that's the sort of people that you're voting for. Not in every case, but those that win, those that have the bigger budget, those that can scream and cry the loudest and put down the other parties the most or more effectively, seem to be the ones that win. That's my uneducated and my non-voting for the last more than 20 years perspective, right? So don't take it for what it's worth, which is about probably two F's of F all. But anyway, that's my rant on that. Yeah, I just have no desire to vote for those people, and I have no desire to educate myself on what all the politics, Labour, Greens, left wing, right wing stand for, because it just all sounds like cuck. I like your videos. They made me more interested into special forces. Okay, cool. That's cool. I mean, um, nice to hear and to read that comment. Thanks for that and for sharing that. I think part of why I like to do what I do is in the hope that it does land on the ears of people that maybe not only just interested or are interested in it, but maybe the hope is those that might have a desire to want to join that space. Because yeah, it's an awesome place, man. Like, again, yeah, people that know me, that's a massively biased comment, right? Huge bias from me, but it's awesome. Um, and yeah, it's anybody that is willing to go and put themselves through what they need to put themselves through in order to get there, they will find it extremely rewarding. Not only whilst they're there, but life after. So yeah, that's cool. Alleged patterns of unlawful conduct are challenged by verified opposing behavior, creating inconsistency that raises the threshold for proof beyond reasonable doubt. Okay, awesome. The fine for not voting is worth it. Yeah, I'm with you. I was paying the fine every year while we were still in Perth. I was like, yep, I'm just paying the bloody fine. My wife got a bit haw with that. So why don't you just put in a vote, even if you don't like them? I was like, no, what if I vote for somebody that I don't like and they actually win? Then I'm blinking guilty of that too. I was like, no, I'll just pay the fine. All done for the Muslim vote. Shameful. I don't know what that's on about. All done for the Muslim vote. Shameful. I don't know. Oh, do you mean the parties and what they're doing and saying what they say about each other to try to win favor with the Muslim community? I might be wrong, but that's how I'm interpreting what you put there, Craig May. Apologies if I got it wrong, bro. Yeah, and it's sad how religion gets dragged into that too. Um, there are people that talking about RS being in prison, and somebody sent through a message saying, "Hey, he needs to watch out. There's plenty of Muslims in prison, and they'll want a piece of him because of his actions in Afghanistan." People need to, like, again, take the blinkers off for a second. People need to understand that soldiers, regardless of whether you're SF or not, we're not over there fighting to go and fight and exterminate and take out Muslims. That's got nothing to do with it. Um, from my perspective anyway, and I have no doubt from any soldier's perspective, uh, I don't know that you would find a soldier coming out, and saying, "Yeah, I was employed by the government to go into Afghanistan to hunt and kill Muslims." That's not the case at all. So if there are Muslims that may take offence to the fact that there is an Australian soldier, RS or otherwise, that was sent over there and that was looking to fight and take out Taliban and Al Qaeda or ISIS, take out known terrorist groups and individuals, that's a completely who happen to have a Muslim belief. That's completely different to anybody going out looking to hunt and target a specific religious group. Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, or otherwise, it's just ridiculous. So I just, again, it's one of those comments I just thought, that's just stupid. Um, yeah. In in my head anyway, it's just a stupid thought, stupid comment. Uh, what's this? Bloody hell. Sorry. I'm just going back up because I missed stuff. Okay, here we go. Arresting him on the plane in front of his kids was a disgrace. I agree it was for theatrics and sensationalism. Yeah, they could have waited and done it quietly inside the tomb. Yeah, 100%. They could have even just, believe it or not, RS is a pretty well-known public figure, and he's not going to try and run away. He is not going to run away. He's not going to try to crawl underneath a rock and hide. It's far too difficult for him to try to do anything like that anyway, just because of the size of the man. There's so many ways they could have handled that with dignity and the respect that he deserves, that his family and friends deserve. Reach out to his lawyer. Reach out to him directly. Swing by and go, "Hey, mate, Mr. Smith, Mr. Robert Smith, here to advise you or inform you today that we will be carrying out whatever it is. We want to, try to keep this as low key as we can, maintaining the dignity and respect for yourself, to your family, to your friends, in recognition of the service that you've given to this bloody country." Didn't happen, eh? That's not to say that he's above the law. Like maybe that's why that didn't happen. Maybe I sound like I'm trying to make out that he should be above the law. That's not the case at all. If the arrest needs to happen, I just think it could have been handled with much more dignity and respect than the way it was. So, yeah, maybe the example I gave is wrong. Maybe that's not how it should be done. But anyway, where are we? I wonder if the federal police investigated the ANA members that executed our boys. Yeah. Yep. So great comment, hey? I think it's three Australian soldiers. Come in, son. 3 Australian soldiers. They got murdered. If this is the same one, I might be wrong. By, a sleeper that was embedded. Now, it could have been a sleeper, could have been forced to, could have been because they've got his family, his children, his wife, whatever. And if he didn't do what he did, then they're going to be executed. Could be any number of things, right? I'm no expert on it. I haven't seen any investigation from it. I haven't heard any unreservedly apology from the Afghan government or members of parliament, or their defence force, like Anus Bell decided to do on behalf of the Australian country and on behalf of the Australian Defence Force. It's just, nuts to me. Yeah, my uncle served at Swanbourne around your time, mate, I think, but he didn't speak about, he likely wouldn't have, about much of it. But your videos give me some insight of what his life was like, and it's pretty cool. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Be cool to know your uncle's. Oh, if I'm reading your thing, if that's the surname, then maybe that's your uncle. The surname maybe sounds a little familiar, if that is the surname, that is. TV circus, yeah. Heroic conduct reflects years of training and a moral compass. How could an opposing pattern emerge without comparable training or conditioning? Whew, you are brainy, bro. Cole M-Y2T. Yep. I think I get at a real basic level what you're saying. But yeah, sounds flash as. And then, yeah, that's the one. BRS was the first on scene as well. Yeah. In Islam, heroic acts are honored on their own. Alleged victims are unverified, and the Quran forbids speaking of what is unknown. His courage may be respected differently than in a Western view. Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, it is the same surname, mate. Okay, right. So yeah, the surname I recognize then that surname. Not sure if it's from the same squadron. It might have just been yeah through that same time. So yeah, very cool. Small world, eh? Small world. And I think, sorry, let me check again. I actually don't care that it's been over 2 hours. I don't know that hopefully I got through the comments and all the questions that people have taken the time. I understand and I respect and acknowledge that it's hot news right now. Hey, like I get it. People are wanting to know, oh, what's not necessarily me, but I wonder what people that maybe knew him or know him or have a connection to him or maybe served in the unit, wonder what their thoughts are. So I get it. Um, I understand that potential interest. Uh, where are we? Yep, I'm pretty sure. Sorry, Damo, if you were still on, maybe you're probably not now, but yeah, I was still on, bro. I was live. Uh, did you do both NZ and Oz SA selection? Why? At prepared for? Yeah, I did. I did do both. I did a video on those in terms of passing both, and because that has been a common question. Why did you do both selections? Why would you? I think there are even some people that had strong opinions around. Nah, why would you go from one country's special forces and then leave that and then go join another? In a nutshell, bro. To the first one, did you do so prepared for? In a nutshell, yeah, the reason that I did both NZ and Australia, did the NZ selection, learnt and heard whilst after selection while I was on cycle that it was a thing whereby there were badged NZSA's operator members that then went over to the UK and did the UKSF selection, and a number were successful and passed and went on and served there. And I was like, wow, you can go join another, you can do a selection, get badged, and then go do another one. I thought that was pretty cool. So uh, there's a number of Kiwis that have done that. In my case, as yes, that seed was planted, so I knew that that was a thing. Got through selection, completed all the courses on cycle, but I had an incident earlier in the year, which meant that I had a fight with a civilian, meant that I was looking at going to jail for 6 years because I was silly and gave just an honest statement in terms of what happened. I didn't start it, but yeah, it wasn't good what I did. I did a video on that anyway. If you want to see the full detail version of it, you're getting the shortened version. And then they said that if everything went well and if I didn't go to jail, the NZ unit at the time, or people that were speaking on behalf of the unit at the time, said that if I didn't go to jail, then I'd get badged, be on a longer probation, and carry on. So I was like, okay, cool. Finished the cycle, got given the beret to shape them the night before, day or two before badging, and then got called back up and told no, needed to go away for 6 months, then come back, do from half of the cycle again, which wasn't really an issue, and then carry on. Then if I completed that, then get badged and then carry on from there. I didn't like that because it was completely different to what I'd been told. So I didn't stay. I then said, no, I'm not coming back. as a mature 21-year-old would do. And I didn't go back. I said, no, I'm going to go do the Australian one. So then that's it. Burnt the boats and left, went to Australia. A period of time after, I had to go back to battalion and do some bits and pieces, and then left and went there and then did selection there. And my mindset, if I break it down to its most basic, was I'm passing this thing or I'm dying trying. So yeah, those are my options basically. Go there, do selection. If I got removed, obviously from the staff, yep, I'm removed. Nothing I can do about it. If I get injured, break something, was really the only way I was thinking, of coming off with an injury, broken and can't carry on. And or third was if I died. So yeah, that's all I wanted to do from the age of 14 is go and serve. Now I probably would have looked to go join there anyway after a period of time. Like I said, because I discovered and learnt during Cycle in NZ, it's like, wow, it's a thing. Get some guys from NZ go over and join the UK SF or other SF because UK, the operational tempo is very, very high and still is as far as I'm concerned. And because they're a great unit, like they're the founding fathers of the SAS for New Zealand, for Australia, and for special forces in general. You know, America's Delta Force, all that sort of stuff. That's 22 SAS are the ones that spawned um, these incredible units. Yeah, so that's the short version, bro. There is a couple of videos on the channel if you want to have a look at those, where I waffle on and give a little bit more insight and detail and maybe thoughts around what was going on in my head at the time. Hey Joe, just joined. How you going? Yeah, all good, bro. Going well. So same day as Australian reservists was arrested for fighting with Ukraine. I get not being allowed back in the ADF, but we support Ukraine. We can't fight for a country we support. Yeah, crazy, eh? Nuts that happens, or that has happened. I didn't know about that until you just shared that. So that's disappointing that has happened. That's just stupid. Again, and that situation is actually putrid. Oh, okay, cool. So here's somebody else that knows about it. Worst thing I've seen come out of Aussie in a while. Yeah, that far out. How crap is that? Same day, Australian reservist was arrested for fighting with Ukraine. So same day as RS was arrested. Is that what that means? That hasn't been given any media, and the media knocking on his mother's door, acting like he was in the wrong for fighting for Ukraine. How disgusting. Yeah, that's crazy. Just stupid. Another shameful act. Yep, agreed. Does it frustrate NZSA's members at the lack of operational tempo compared to other countries? I think maybe it did earlier, like around the time when I went through selection back in '98, and before then, because there were guys, from what I discovered and learnt, that had gone over, done the New Zealand one, then went over and joined UK like years before I went on selection in '98. So I think that, I don't know if frustrating is the right word, but maybe it was. Yeah, I'd be speculating in terms of whether or not it was frustrating for them. I think even in times nowadays, I think for a number of Kiwis in particular, they probably, you know, it's probably a bit of a blessing in two ways. One, I think guys want to go over and test themselves on that selection as well. And the double blessing of it, for want of a better term, like if they pass, is that they can expect to be very, very busy. Now, in saying that, I can't speak exactly to the tempo of what it's like in NZ or what it was like during the war, global war on terror for NZ. But I'm pretty confident, based on what I do know and those that I have spoken with, that their tempo was very high. Like for the small country that it is and for the small unit that it is, the rotations and the work and the durations super high. So I don't know that there would have been many guys going from the New Zealand unit to the UK for operational tempo reasons, if that makes sense. Whereas before that, earlier, maybe in the earlier '90s or whatever, maybe it was even before that, there probably was. You know, so. But yeah, that's just my guesstimation. Yeah, same day as BRE. Oh wow, same day. Yeah, sorry, BRS. Well, that I didn't see that in the news. That's crap. To know that took place. Amazing that we can be openly as a country, and I say we, as I'm still an Australian citizen, proud New Zealand and Australian citizen, that we can be openly supportive of Ukraine in this case. Somebody goes off his own back, volunteers, would have subsidized his own self to go there, fight with Ukraine, come back to the country that openly claims to support Ukraine, and then arrest him. That's nuts, man. That is just, yeah, that's just stupid. Were you at that presentation, I think in 2003, post Iraq, John Howard Candace? Yep. Yeah, I did a reaction on during the bravery and betrayal reaction that I did. Yeah, and you see, so some of the images and photos that they show in there are from when we got back from Iraq in 2003. And I spoke about there, like at that time, I was just stoked to see my wife, be with my wife and our children, and she was pregnant with our next one by that stage as well. I was just really happy to to be with them. I saw Prime Minister, but when we come off the bus, it's always stayed in my mind. Old Johnny Howard put himself with his entourage and security, but positioned himself right next to where the doors on the buses would open when we were in camp. And every person that came off, he extended his hand, gripped our hands with two hands, shook our hands, and thanked every individual, operators, support staff, everybody that had come back, because none of us expected all of us to come back. It just wasn't. We, you know, we didn't. Nobody expected that the whole squadron that went over with all the support staff, that everybody would come back. We didn't have any casualties on that deployment, and it's awesome. It's amazing considering the action that did take place across the three troops and the squadron while we were deployed. So, yeah, that's always stuck in my mind. Here he is, the Prime Minister, shaking our hands. And then I did think, well, no, I didn't really think about it, to be fair. I saw other guys going up with their families, with their partners, with some had their parents and stuff there as well. Most just had their partners and their children, but getting photos with him. And I saw that. I remember looking at it thinking, oh, that's pretty cool. But I didn't go up or take my wife with our children to go ask to get a photo with the Prime Minister. Probably one of the things now I look back, one of many things I look back and think, oh man, yeah, I should have done that. It would have been cool. But especially considering he was the only Prime Minister at the time that I felt like, oh yeah, I'll vote for this guy. But yeah, I didn't. Yeah, it's a cool memory anyway. Yeah, my fam was there. They told me about it. Oh, that's cool. Pretty cool, eh? Yeah. Yeah, very cool. Okay, yeah, then definitely, yeah, where there's a connection there. So we must have been part of the same squadron, your uncle and I. So very, very cool indeed. Small world, all right. All right, I think that's about it. This was an impromptu one. There won't be a live tomorrow. Not unless I get a whole bunch of fresh new questions. But there's been a number of questions that I haven't included in here, but I've probably, through my talking for the last couple of hours, I've probably covered off on most of those, if not all of them anyway. And then the ones that I haven't, I know I've sent specific replies to certain individuals. Otherwise, I've just said, yeah, I'll do a live, or now I can say I've done 3 lives in relation to this. So if people are interested in my thoughts for what they're worth, they can have a look at the last few lives or this live. Yeah, thank yous all. Hey, if you stuck around here and if you've been here for this whole time or just listening, appreciate your time and support. To the big fella over here, hopefully he gets the support that he needs, that he deserves, and we'll see how things play out. But yeah, appreciate you all time and support and the comments and questions, and yeah, wherever you are, whatever struggles you might be going through, just hopefully just keep turning up, man, chipping away, put one foot in front of the other, take one day at a time. It can be very difficult, lonely, miserable, can suck, but yeah, the need to just keep chipping away is super important. And as long as we want things to get better, they usually do, just usually not on our own time schedule. So that being said, anyway, go always a little further. Remember, who dares wins and who cares wins. And until the next video, there is a big mana wave coming from me to you, filled with my aroha, respect, appreciation, and gratitude for you all. Sorry, I'm crammed up here on the couch, so I couldn't do a big wind up. See you later, eh?